Hey, this is Jeffrey with another edition of Stock Smart, the weekend edition for the first weekend in April. I'm here with a special guest tonight, my partner, Whitney Johnson. How you doing?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be on the show.
So what's on your mind, Whitney?
Well, in breaking news, I have to report, this is very exciting, everybody. Hold on. Waitr adds Chuck E. Cheese to its delivery platform. And wow, is that an exciting breaking news story.
Now, Chuck E. Cheese, do you eat there a lot, Whitney?
So, funny story about Chuck E. Cheese. I have 4 children, and I used to take them to Chuck E. Cheese when they were very, very young. And the only thing we could not do at Chuck E. Cheese is eat their food.
So you went there for everything but the food?
Everything but the food.
So
yeah.
who's doing the delivery of the food now?
It is called Waitr. It's a delivery service app.
Now we talk about stocks and sports on this show. Is this an app? Is this a publicly traded company?
It is. It's symbol WTRH.
WTRH. Okay. So the company delivers food. So it's in the competition space with DoorDash and Grubhub and all these other and Uber Eats, right?
It is.
So in terms of my outlook for this, because I've studied a lot of these companies and they've gotten absolutely bludgeoned, because I believe people are going to want to go and actually see what their food looks like in a restaurant rather than have it delivered.
And I know from the days that I was at Chuck E. Cheese, my oldest is almost 19. So this was 15 plus years ago. Did I say my oldest? My youngest is almost 19. So this was 15 years ago. We were there 15, 20 years ago. The food quality was no bueno. So what I'm wondering is how is this actually a desired food product? Like if you're thinking of a pizza, are you wanting to order from Domino's or Papa John's or somewhere like that?
Well, I mean,
or are you going to think of Chuck E. Cheese?
Well, to me, those are the worst pizzas anyway. So if you're going to order from Chuck E. Cheese, which is the worst pizza, I would say it's cardboard with tomato sauce on it. And then you have Domino's, which is slightly better cardboard with tomato sauce on it. And then you have something like Pizza Hut, which actually is pretty good because they have all those kind of they have those seasonal pizzas they do, and they can be kind of good. But I would say that it's a big loss for Waitr. I wouldn't be interested in it. And I think those companies in general as investments are not going to be good investments. I would say that we've gone through a very unique period in time when restaurants had to focus on food outtake. I don't think they've been as focused on it in the past because I think most of their business comes, I'd say, and I've done this research, 75 to 80% of their business generally was in the restaurant. And their biggest margins, of course, are alcohol. So when they go back to the restaurant in terms of normalcy, they're going to suffer in terms of the quality of food takeout because they just won't care about it as much. It makes sense to me. What do you think about that, Whitney?
Totally makes sense.
It does make sense.
It does.
You know, we were talking a little bit yesterday about the NFL. And we're going to be talking a little bit about sports on this show because we're getting into a new area, but we can't really disclose that yet, but it's coming soon. So we were talking about the NFL and how the NFL has reached an agreement where they're going to now have 17 games during the season. What do you think about that, Winnie? What were you reading about that?
Well, what was interesting to me is that they're adding the extra game in the regular season, but they're taking one preseason game away.
Do you watch preseason games?
No.
Do you watch regular season games?
Sometimes.
Okay. How often do you watch NFL games?
Maybe 1 or 2 per season.
Can you name 5 players in the NFL?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay. Let's wait. First off, let's bet on if this is accurate, and she can. And you cannot use players who are no longer in the NFL. They actually have to be current players.
Shoot. Okay.
Like Jerry Rice, by the way, just so you know. Jerry Rice, who you know.
Yeah.
Not playing anymore.
Oh, well, thank you for that reminder.
And I know that Roger Craig is a friend of yours?
Yes.
Okay, so he's not playing anymore. Just in case you didn't know that.
Well, yes.
He's like 50, yeah. He's like 57.
Thanks for the reminder.
Okay, so he's not playing anymore. So now, and Joe Montana, not playing. But
thank you.
You know the most free one. There's of the 5, so here's the list. Let's go. And this is for
wait.
What's the bet? What are we betting?
Oh gosh. It's got to be something really good.
A good bet?
Yes.
Is it like you have to take out someone else's garbage? Because that's a pain in the ass. No one wants to do that.
I actually have a funny story about this. One of my tennis partners always wants to bet a tank of gas.
Gas is expensive. And by the way, here to throw in, because we are actually... Wait, we're financial advisors, so here's the thing. We should know how much gas has gone up, and gas has gone up 70% in 3 months.
It has.
17%.
But here's the unfair proposition of that whole
It's
thing.
unfair, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
She drives a pickup truck.
Oh, that's expensive.
And
is it
I
diesel?
drive a very small sports car.
But your sports car eats a lot of gas.
It's one tank of gas.
Oh, one tank
My
of gas.
tank of gas is 14 gallons. Her tank of gas is 26 or 28 gallons.
You know, my son is really into working on cars. Do you think there's any way he can modify your tank to make it larger for that one investment?
To
I mean, maybe he can double your tank somehow. Like
just strap a thing to the top of the Porsche.
Well, like, hey, I'm sorry about the bet, but you didn't know that I drove a cargo ship. You know, that would be the bet.
It's a great incentive to try to win a match, which I actually don't even need further incentive. And the tank of gas, not a great incentive for me. I just want to win.
You want to win the tank of gas?
No, I want to win the tennis tournament.
So what's our bet? And don't forget, you still have to name 5 NFL players, which I don't think you can even do.
I 100% can. I'm just stalling.
And I would if I got rid of one that everybody knows.
Oh,
could
wait,
you name it?
No, I think I can right now.
If I got rid of one,
I
got rid of one, and let me turn over your notes so you can't use them. If I can remove Tom Brady, can you still get 5?
Yes.
I don't believe you can. And
really?
Because there's guys that play basketball that you probably think play football. So why don't we start with the list? What's the bet first, though?
I don't know. Let's start with the list first.
No, because then I'll know if I win the bet if you have the list. So we have to make the bet first.
Okay, well, I guess we're at a stalemate. Okay.
So name your 5.
Gronkowski.
What's his name? What's his first name?
What the? Why do I need to know his first name?
Well, because he has a first name. Do you just call him, hey, Gronkowski, hey, how you doing?
No, he's actually called Gronk.
Okay, very good. Wow, that is so clever that you came up with that. His name is Gronk. Okay. It's okay, go on. So we're going to say that you know that his name is Rob Gronkowski. Okay. Do you know what position he plays?
Yeah, he's a receiver.
Receiver, yes. A receiver of sorts. He's a tight end. Whitney knew it. She knew it. So go on.
Anyway,
that's one.
So,
ding, ding.
Okay,
one.
that's one. My favorite player. I'm not going to leave him to last because
JaVale McGee is a basketball player. Whitney.
I know that, but that's not on my list.
All right, what is it?
My favorite player is Patrick Mahomes, and I knew his first name.
He is. Do you know?
Ding, 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 ding.
Do you know his?
I should get a bonus point for that.
No bonus points.
I knew his first name.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes. Do you know that? Do you know his dad? Do you know what sport his dad played?
No, but I know both his parents were athletes.
Okay, so his dad was a baseball pitcher. You're in.
Okay,
you have 2. So the big tote board says 2. You know Rob Gronkowski and Patrick Mahomes, 2 people who were in the Super Bowl. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did.
Oh, you did? Wow. Okay, that's a surprise too. Go on. Who else you got?
Tom Brady, duh.
I took that off the list. You can't use.
No,
Tom Brady.
I can.
No, you can't.
You just said 5.
You've already used 2 of the two people out of the Super Bowl.
So what? Who
no,
cares
you need
about
other players. Other players. That's a scratch. Tom Brady was out.
You're stressing me out.
This is my job. You know this.
No,
We've known each other long enough. You know my job is to stress you out.
Tom Brady.
I'm going to put it on the fence as a hat.
No,
it's a
because
hat.
I knew Patrick Mahomes' first name.
You did.
So that's one half, and Tom Brady's the other half.
Okay, go. I'll give you Tom Brady.
Okay, yeah, thank you. With the middle finger.
There you go, Tom Brady.
Okay.
This is a big I think we're failing here.
No.
Ship crashing.
Stop.
It's the Suez Canal again, and the tanker ship has crashed in the Suez Canal.
Okay.
On 3.
You know what? I got to call a timeout.
You do? You want to phone a friend? Do you have somebody you want to call?
I'm calling an audible.
I've seen this. Oh my God, a football term. So you use the football term, calling an audible. What are you doing with the audible?
I don't know yet.
Okay, so do you know? Let me give you some. Let me give you some clues.
Okay.
Here's an easy one.
Okay.
Number 12.
Get numbers.
He's as famous as Tom Brady, but is not as famous as Tom Brady.
Oh wait, what about
Yes, him!
Peyton Manning.
He is not playing anymore, by the way, so that is out.
And his brother, Eli Manning.
Not playing either!
I don't know numbers.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go number 12. He plays for a team.
I don't know numbers.
Do you know my favorite football team?
On jerseys.
Do you know my favorite football team?
Yes, the Packers.
That is correct!
Yes, I get a point for that.
You don't get a point on the tote board, but you get a point. So who is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers? Come on, he's pretty damn famous. He used to date Danica Patrick, and now he's also dating someone famous who I don't even know because she's too young. He is on every goddamn State Farm commercial, by the way, Whitney. Have you ever seen him? Yeah, his name is Let me give you his initials. And he grew up in the Bay Area. He played at Chico, in Chico, California. That's where he's from. His name is...
Oh, Aaron Rodgers!
Oh my God! Does that even count? That's 4!
Yes, that
It's amazing. So this is the longest answer to whatever we're getting at, but we don't even know. So your 5th player would be, again, JaVale McGee?
No, he's a basketball player.
How about somebody who plays for the 49ers?
Already.
Do you know the good-looking quarterback that plays for the 49ers that's probably not going to be there next year? And maybe go back to Patriots? His name starts with a J, and it rhymes with Wimmy.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh my God! Oh! Yeah. And I would say you owe me dinner. Okay, so let's...
No, I got all 5.
That's a week 5.
I don't know.
Okay. Right. Is that... I'm going to have to edit this out. Okay, so keep going, and let's go and talk about...
Okay, so wait. I have actually a very serious thing to talk about with the NFL. So my first thought with these extended games is, how does it impact the health of the players? And then as I continued reading, you would think that additional games would yield additional compensation, but actually their contracts stay the same, even with that additional game. So my concern would be players' health, CTE, of course, and normal seasonal injuries. So then, of course, I'm thinking with all these extra people out and longer games, extra people out on injuries, more games, do you need bigger teams? More players on each team?
Well, how many players do you think are on a team? I'm just curious because you knew 5 players, and you knew a bunch. You knew a bunch of players who are almost dead, but you knew a bunch of players who played in the NFL before.
They're not almost dead.
It's true, but their careers are definitely dead, and so you knew some guys. And how many players do you think are on an NFL roster?
I'm gonna take a stab. I'm thinking it's in the 90s.
Yeah, that's not right. But okay, that's a good guess. So there's 52 guys on an NFL roster. There's 55 with the extra guys, the 3 extra guys who are on kind of like the non-play list. So it's not a lot. It's not a big.
There's plenty of room on the bench.
Well, so the problem is that NFL has salary caps. There's a lot of complications in the NFL. I think this is a real screw deal for the players. And generally, and let me ask you a question, Whitney. Do you know what the average lifespan is? Not a lifespan, but the career span is of an NFL player. And most people don't know this.
I'm going to say 6.8 years.
And you know what? It's half of that. It's 3.5 years. So depending on your position, some positions have more. Like if you're lucky enough to be a punter and you're good, you can last for 10 years. But most like running backs, linemen, one knee injury, they're done. So the sport, and most people don't know too, NFL players, this is one thing, from a financial perspective, and we deal in financial perspectives every single day, is that NFL players have no guarantees on their contracts. Every other sport has guaranteed contracts. NFL, because the way that the NFL Players Association works and their collective bargaining agreement, they have no guaranteed money. So when people say, oh, why is he getting such an exaggerated signing bonus? It's because that's the only guaranteed money that an NFL player gets. So if an NFL player signs a contract and the contract's worth $50 million for 5 years with a $25 million signing bonus, meaning $50 million total, the only guaranteed money is the $25 million. So if he gets injured tomorrow and he's out for the rest of his career, he only gets a $25 million. That's his career. As opposed to somebody like, look at a baseball player's contract. So when A-Rod went to the Rangers some years ago, he signed the most lucrative contract ever. He signed a $250 million contract for $25 million a year for 10 years. That money was guaranteed. Now the Yankees took him over, and you probably know most of this, right, Whit?
Yeah, I've heard of that. But I have a question.
Okay.
The salary cap, the signing bonus, that's negotiated in the contract, right?
Right. It's always negotiated up front. The point is the players got screwed. And you can see, I looked up some quotes from players like Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara said, the SHIT is dumb as hell. Mm-hmm. And all the players are really against it. The reality is these players, the NFL puts on the face that they care. And one of my favorite lines, players see it, is when they come in, they say it's a business. When they ask the players to kill themselves to play, they call it a game.
Right.
And they say they're lucky. And the point is Warren Sapp, who was a great orator on the sport for years, he would always say that they were plantation, and I don't want to say the next word, but that he was a plantation, essentially a worker and a slave for the NFL. And he said, he would go play as long as they CTC. Do you know what a CTC is?
No.
Cut the check.
Oh.
So he would go play as that. But the NFL players are getting screwed again.
That's awful.
They have short careers. They're going to play 17 games, and it's a tough schedule as it is.
So what is your opinion of cross-conference matchups?
I think it's great. It makes it more interesting.
So they're going to have, with the 17 games, they're obviously an odd number of games. So one of the 17 games will be a cross-conference matchup. So
that's right. And I noticed some teams, there's it being an odd number this year, that some teams will have 9 home games, other teams will have 8 road games, and vice versa. So that is a definitive advantage because the way that the NFL works, essentially, if you're into gambling, which I do partake in gambling in the NFL, the home team generally has a 2.5 to 3.5 point edge against the road team. And depending on your travel schedule, teams like the Buccaneers, who are remote, and Seattle, which is one of the most remote places, have some of the worst travel schedules. Mm. Teams like the Bears, who are kind of in the middle central, have an easier travel schedule.
Right.
So it can be kind of painful for some of these teams that have the extra road game.
For sure. But the NFL is expecting full stadiums this season, so I think that's slightly optimistic, but that is the expectation.
That they're going to have full stadiums? Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
And actually, I was really surprised to read how many media rights deals there were. Over 6 now. They have a combined worth of over $100 billion to the NFL.
Absolutely. It is the juggernaut mega sports complex of all the sports. By the way, I'm going to say one thing. One of the original contracts that was the reason that AT&T bought this dog, which was DirecTV, was the NFL Sunday Ticket. And I got to tell you, I had a 5-digit DirecTV number. That's how long ago I had it. I literally had a rental apartment in San Francisco.
Your account number?
My account number was 5 digits. I was so new, meaning I was like 25,300. I mean, I was such a new user because I wanted to watch my team, which was an out-of-town team, and they didn't have that many games on regular TV at that time. You would just get I was living in San Francisco, I'd get the 49ers game and maybe some kind of other game from the East Coast, and that was it. But I would never get the Packers games. So I wanted to watch the Packers. So when the dish became available, I was one of the first people to buy the dish. And I actually drove out to a place I never even heard of until I met you, which was called Dublin. And I went to go buy the dish at a place that had the dish. And so I went and I put it on my window. I was hanging out my window in San Francisco on Kearny Street, putting my dish on the wall. Was
it one of those big, gigantic satellite dish-looking things?
No, well, that was the beauty of DirecTV. I mean, the dish was about, I don't know, it was like a big pumpkin with with a handle anyway. So, right, this is not made for kids tonight, but so it was a dish that you could receive DirecTV on. And I put it up. The funniest thing is, the coolest thing ever is that at the time, a year later, they made a movie on my street.
Oh, right.
Did I ever tell you about that?
You did tell me about that, yes.
So they were making a movie. There's a guy, Joe Esterhaus, he's famous for the movie Basic Instinct. Mm-hmm. And he made a movie on my block. Mm-hmm. And this DirecTV dish was a problem for the scene he wanted to make because it didn't look authentic for the neighborhood. And that neighborhood's kind of cool. I lived right under Coit Tower. And so he demanded that I take the dish down.
Demanded?
He was demanding.
Asking you to?
They were like,
demanding?
Well, here's how they demand it. They say,
where are the editing skills?
In terms of what?
They could have edited it out.
Oh, you mean like
Photoshop
CGI?
Or something?
This was an authentic director. I mean, by the way, to shoot this scene, I mean, he didn't do that. And by the way, everything is CGI now in movies. It's terrible.
A crap about a satellite dish.
This guy gave a crap. If you've ever seen the movies, they're very authentic. I mean, Basic Instinct everything was on location. It was there. He didn't do there's very few scenes in Basic Instinct that are done on like a Hollywood set. They did everything authentic to the city, and that was the Joe Esserhouse kind of way. Okay. They wanted that. So the movie, anyway, they shot this movie Jade. It was a dog. It had that guy, that redheaded guy who was in all the CSIs.
The creepy guy?
Yeah, what's his name? I can't. Anyway, the coolest thing is he was in my apartment. The movie was based on my apartment, so the Hollywood set was based on the apartment I had there. Anyway, they paid me like $4,000 or $5,000 to take the damn dish down. So the dish paid for itself like 5 times. But why?
Did you say the Hollywood set was based on your apartment?
100%.
But you said that they were shooting everything on location and you had to take your satellite dish down because nothing was filmed in a studio.
Is this a gotcha moment? I think you may have gotten me. It's fine. Okay, maybe they had a couple scenes.
Gotcha.
I would have said maybe the majority of it was done in a Hollywood set, and it was. And majority was not filmed in a Hollywood set. Majority of it was done in the apartment and in the authentic locations. Anyway, the movie was a dog. I liked the movie. It had Ches Palminteri.
You like dogs?
Yeah, I do like dogs. Why, do you have a dog? We're going to sign off for now, but thanks for listening. Keep the questions coming to Jeffrey@jeffreycamus.com. And I want to thank my partner and guest today on the show, Whitney Johnson, for being part of it.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast and so many faces.
So many faces, the many faces of Whitney. And we'll see you again next time on Stop.